The Cincinnati Bengals were a disappointment in 2024, and they could be headed towards an ugly divorce with Joe Burrow, just like they did with Carson Palmer.
Anytime you don't make the playoffs, it's a failure.
How's it going today, POV fam? Welcome to Point of View, where we bring you the most interesting perspective on the sports world 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm talking the stories you won't get anywhere else, so don't miss an episode because trust me, you'll want to be a part of this conversation. So drop a comment like this one, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe button right now and ring the notification bell so you're always in the know. Now to today's topic. Since Trey Hendrickson and Jermaine Pratt have requested trades and T. Higgins appears on his way out as well, is Joe Burrow next? Now, I know that sounds insane, but the idea he may be growing increasingly unhappy with the franchise stems from an interview he did with Pardon My Take, where he said this about the Philadelphia Eagles, quote, "The Eagles are paying everybody. That seems like the way, whatever they're doing," end quote. Now, this may not seem like much, and that we're taking a bit of a jump because he never stated he was unhappy, but bear with me here because this type of thing has happened before with the Bengals. Carson Palmer was the face of the franchise in the 2000s and had a tumultuous fallout when he didn't believe the Bengals front office was doing enough to push towards the Super Bowl. And he said as much on the DA show on CBS Sports Radio a few years ago. Here's what Palmer had to say.
That's why I wanted out, is I never felt like the organization was really trying to win a Super Bowl and really chasing the Super Bowl. Because that's what today's day and age is. That the game today is you can't just hope you draft well and not go after free agents and you end up in the Super Bowl. You got to go get it. You know, when the organization is completely behind doing what it takes to win, then and you got the right players, then that's the recipe for a Super Bowl. When you got good players, but you're not really forcing everybody in the organization's hand to do what we can to be better, to do what we can to win a Super Bowl. That's the difference in the NFL. You look at what Bob Kraft's done. You look at the teams that have had success year in, year out. You look at what goes on in Baltimore. I mean, that team is always good. That team is doing whatever it takes. They're willing to do whatever it takes to win, and that's why they're consistently in the playoffs, regardless who the quarterback is.
Yikes. You never want to hear a leader of your team rip your franchise like that. But also, that's far in the past, and that won't happen again, right? Well, hopefully not. But the similarities between Palmer and Burrow are kind of uncanny. They both won the Heisman Trophy in college. They both were drafted first overall by Cincinnati. Heck, they had 2 Pro Bowl selections in their first 4 seasons and led the league in touchdowns and completion percentage in a season. And to really wrap it up, they both wore number 9. Now, I get it. None of that inherently means that Joe's going to follow the same path as Carson, but some other facts and similarities do support that possibility. Palmer had 2 of the best wideouts in franchise history to throw to in Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, and TJ Houshmandzadeh, but couldn't get the same support from his offensive line or defense. Does that sound familiar? And beyond just the roster around those guys, the Bengals had a terrible report card from the 2024 NFLPA survey, where they ranked 26 out of 32 teams after being graded poorly in multiple categories. They ranked dead last in the league in treatment of families, food and cafeteria, and nutrition and dietitian. Those seem like pretty important aspects of everyday life in the NFL. And those grades didn't just come from a few disgruntled players. There's some really good reasons for the terrible report card. They're the only team that closes the cafeteria on off days, even if players go to the facility to get some work in. They're one of 4 teams that don't provide family room or daycare for players' families on game day, and about half of their showers don't work, which resulted in a D+ grade in the locker room category. All of that, paired with the down year they just had, has resulted in 3 of their best players looking for their next stop. Hendrickson and Pratt clearly feel their talents are being wasted, and while Higgins would like to stay, it sounds like he knows he's not going to get paid what he deserves by the Bengals. And if all 3 of those guys are gone, it's pretty likely Cincinnati's roster will be worse in 2025, at least on paper. Now, they do have a good amount of cap space to fix their flaws, and I do think that Zach Taylor and the front office realize the pressure they're under, but I'm not sure I have faith that they'll add the talent necessary. Here's Taylor's response after the season when asked if he will lobby to re-sign Higgins and extend Jamar Chase.
I think lobby is not the right word. We are lockstep in how we communicate every week of the season, every week of the offseason. And so those are conversations we'll have. We got a lot of great players, and T is one of them, certainly. And I'm very hopeful that that'll work out to where we're able to get him back. But there's certainly a process we're going to have to undergo with a lot of players on our team. And I can promise you, we'll be in unison with whatever those decisions are. And that's a process we'll start now, through the month of January and February, and talking through every player on our roster and how it all fits.
That didn't exactly inspire confidence, but it does make it pretty clear that their upcoming decisions are just as much on Taylor as they are in the front office, and if they mess this up, they all need to go. So while the story hasn't been written yet and Burrow hasn't said anything about wanting out, you can see why he might be trending towards that path. There's still time to right the ship, but they're running out of time. And if they do run out of time, it might be smart to try and sign T. Higgins and then trade him so they can get something back. For more on why that trade should be with the LA Chargers, check out this past episode of Point of View. And the moment you've been waiting for, here's the answer to today's trivia question. We appreciate you tuning in. We will see you in the next one.